Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 7 of Agent Carter called SNAFU. And I felt that this was a reasonably good episode. It sort of suffers from the problem of being the penultimate episode. They kind of have to have things, they kind of have to move the pieces around the board just a little bit more. But in order to do that, they basically have to have Peggy, who is of course the title character, spend most of the episode sidelined. This episode is really just about kind of getting the SSR guys to realize that she's one of the good guys, and of course Peggy getting the chance to give Rooney and Thompson and D'Souza a speech about how they're basically kind of sexist dicks. Now, this is kind of contrasted by the fact that while we know they're not perfect people, we also know that D'Souza, Rooney, and Thompson are good guys. So this does sort of show that, good people can have serious flaws. And, it is very satisfying to see Peggy kind of point out, like, hey, you guys all underestimated me and looked down on me for various reasons. And it wasn't until that was like basically shoved right in your face that you even could acknowledge that I was anything close to an equal to you. I mean, it's especially brutal to what she says to D'Souza, basically once you realized that I wasn't this sort of like woman you could put up on a pedestal, you thought I ended up, betraying the country because of Howard Stark's dick, basically. So, yeah, I mean, Peggy had seriously earned that moment, and in all fairness, it does really seem to sink in on all three of those guys. It's like, you know what? She's right. I've done wrong by Peggy here. But again, just sort of Peggy being stuck in the interrogation room most of the episode. I mean, come on. This is her show. She's the character that needs to be out there doing stuff. So I kind of wish they'd sped this up a little bit. But again, we kind of needed to have Rooney. Make that heroic sacrifice after being manipulated by, as we've discovered, Dr. Achenko's comic book counterpart is Dr. Faustus. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, so we did sort of need to have that moment, that time taken to really kind of have the SSR pull their heads out of their ass. And the price for them having their heads up their butts in the first place was, the loss of their boss and the loss of the lives of all of those people in the theater. And we also did get to see a nice moment of, some nice moments with Peggy and Jarvis. I did like Jarvis quite a bit in this episode. It shows that Jarvis is not a strategist, but boy is that guy loyal to a fault. And that whole thing with him and Peggy breaking the window and then going like, oh wait, we're still handcuffed to the table. This doesn't help at all. That was pretty funny. And even though he got told off really well this episode, D'Souza kind of deserves a little round of applause for at least surviving an encounter with a Black Widow. I mean, for a guy with a bad leg, that's an impressive accomplishment. Let me see. Oh yeah, the theater. Now, I remember years ago there was a Black Widow miniseries written by a lady by the name of Devin Grayson, which was featured a thing called the Deathless Frenzy virus, and basically, despite the name, it was really good at turning people into like bloodthirsty maniacs who would absolutely tear people apart until they basically dropped dead from sheer exhaustion. And when I was watching what was happening in the theater, that was the first thing that jumped to my mind. Now, it could turn out to be something totally different. I mean, there's more than a few things in the Marvel Universe that can cause people to turn into bloodthirsty crazies like that. But again, that's just sort of the first thing that jumped to my mind. And let me see, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah, not a huge amount jumps to my mind. I mean, this isn't a bad episode by any measure. It's just, you kind of want something with a little more punch, a little more action. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I kind of thought that, like, this is the last episode before the finale. There really should have been a little bit more action this episode. And not that the stuff that we did get to see, we got to see Dottie fighting again. We got to see, Dooley make that sacrifice. I mean, that was all cool, but what can I say? I just really wanted some flash and some bang. And I kind of was hoping that maybe they could have done what they did with like sorting out the SSR, kind of getting on board with what's going on. Maybe spent 20 or 30 minutes, the first 2/3 of the show doing that, and then maybe kind of start towards the big bang in the last part of the episode. But we didn't quite get that. What we got was basically setup. I mean, it's well executed setup, but setup nonetheless. So in any case, I have the feeling that the next episode, which is going to be the season finale, is going to be a good one. This show, while not without its flaws, has for the most part been really, really good TV. I mean, Agent Carter's already been picked up for a second season. That's cool, and this is really just proof that, to me, that the Captain Marvel movie and anything else that they do that's going to have a female lead, so long as they have good storytelling, good directing, and good casting, those movies are going to do just fine at the box office. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you this time. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and of course, follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Till next time, take care and have a good one.